Tracy Sabol tonight on EWTN News Nightly, ballots and the budget. President Joe Biden releases a new plan to try and entice voters. We're at the White House. Pro-life push, how one Republican senator wants to counter pro-abortion messaging from Democrats. And keeping it a secret, Pope Francis explains why it is good news that Jesus knows our innermost thoughts. These stories and more tonight.
From EWTN, the Global Catholic Network, this is EWTN News Nightly.
Thank you for being with us. Our top story tonight, coming off his State of the Union address last week, President Joe Biden delivers two speeches today, one in Washington, D.C., the other in New Hampshire, both aimed at getting voters' attention in this election year. The main topic, money and how and where to spend it, including his eye-popping $7.3 trillion, 188-page budget proposal for fiscal 2025. White House correspondent Owen Jensen reports. Owen.
Tracy, good evening to you. Tonight, under President Joe Biden's budget plan, the president is promising tax breaks for families, lower health care costs, smaller deficits, and higher taxes on the wealthy and corporations. But his GOP opponents say not so fast, calling it reckless, and the current proposal getting the okay is unlikely.
President Joe Biden addresses the National League of Cities. Local leaders from across the nation gathered in Washington, D.C., talking money and his plan, if reelected, to both collect it and spend it.
Folks, look, I'm a capitalist. If you can make $1 billion, wonderful. Just pay your fair share, man. Not 8.2%. If you paid 25%, we'd have $500 billion more over the next 10 years.
In a White House fact sheet laying out more details of the president's budget for fiscal year 2025, it says, in addition to honoring his pledge not to raise taxes on anyone earning less than $400,000 annually, President Biden's tax plan would cut taxes for middle and low-income Americans by $765 billion over 10 years. But the Republican National Committee says Biden lied and will do it again, posting this video today.
President Biden breaking his promise not to raise taxes on the middle class.
The Senate Democrats look to fast-track a bill that multiple now nonpartisan experts say would raise taxes on nearly all Americans.
The president also talking a financial incentive for home buyers. While acknowledging it's tough to purchase a home right now due to high mortgage rates, the president said every family deserves a place to call home.
For those seeking to buy their first home or trade up for a little more space, I propose the tax cut that will provide $400 a month for the next 2 years.
After his speech in Washington, later the president visiting a YMCA in New Hampshire, talking about those higher everyday costs and how his administration is trying to keep them in check, including a $2,000 cap on drug costs and more.
And I'm calling on Congress to make and expand the Affordable Care Act tax credits and make them permanent. Make them permanent.
Also tonight, the White House says the president's budget would set the corporate tax rate at 28%. In addition, one other item, parents making under $200,000 annually would have access to child care, with most eligible families paying no more than $10 a day. At the White House, Owen Jensen, EWTN News Nightly.
Tensions are mounting between the U.S. and Israel. President Biden is warning Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu against pushing ahead with an air and ground offensive in Rafah.
But there's red lines that if he crosses, he cannot have 30,000 more Palestinians dead as a consequence of going after. There's other ways to deal with the trauma caused by Hamas.
Netanyahu says that he will move forward with the invasion of Rafah. The prime minister defended his policies in Gaza after President Biden also said this is hurting Israel more than helping.
Well, I don't know exactly what the president meant, but if he meant by that, then I'm pursuing private policies against the majority, the wish of the majority of Israelis, and that this is hurting the interests of Israel, then he's wrong on both counts. Number one, these are not my private policies only. They're policies supported by the overwhelming majority of the Israelis.
The United Nations aid chief is warning an invasion of Rafah could lead to a slaughter. The war has displaced millions of Palestinians, and the vast majority are experiencing catastrophic hunger. Well, with his words on Ukraine, Pope Francis, quote, intended to call for a ceasefire and relaunch the courage of negotiation. That is what the director of the Holy See press office said to journalists when asked about the Holy Father's interview with a Swiss television station. EWTN Vatican News correspondent Colin Flynn has more.
Good evening, Tracy. In an interview over the weekend, Pope Francis said that Ukraine should have the courage to, quote, wave the white flag and negotiate. Speaking on Swiss television, the Pope repeated the phrase white flag back to the interviewer who used it first, and also said Ukraine should not be ashamed to negotiate and carry out peace talks as many lives were being lost. Quote, I think that the strongest one is the one who looks at the situation, thinks about the people and has the courage of the white flag and negotiates before things get worse. Pope Francis added that international powers should help facilitate these peace talks. He went on to say, quote, that word negotiate is a brave word. When you see that you are defeated, that things are not working out, to have the courage to negotiate, he said. Well, as the waving of a white flag is known around the world as the symbol of surrender, there was a large reaction to the Pope's comments. The Ukrainian government responded angrily and vowed never to surrender. Ukraine's foreign minister sharing on social media that their flag was not a white one, but a yellow and blue one. Quote, this is the flag by which we live, die and will prevail. We shall never raise any other flags, end quote. Ukrainian President Zelensky responded to the Pope without naming him in his nightly TV address. Here's what he said.
I thank every Ukrainian chaplain who is with the army and the defence forces. They are on the front line, protecting life and humanity, supporting with prayer, conversation and deeds. This is what the Church is. It is together with people, not 2,500 kilometres away somewhere, virtually mediating between someone who wants to live and someone who wants to destroy you.
That was President Zelensky speaking over the weekend. Well, the Latvian president tweeted as well, saying that evil should be the one raising the white flag, and a German Christian MEP said that it was shameful. The Polish foreign minister wrote online, quote, how about, for balance, encouraging Putin to have the courage to withdraw his army from Ukraine. Peace would immediately ensue without the need for negotiations, end quote. And there was many more. Now, later in that same interview, when talking about the conflict in Gaza, Pope Francis said, quote, negotiations are never a surrender. It is the courage not to carry a country to suicide. Over the weekend, the Vatican's Director of Communications, Matteo Bruni, issued a statement seeking to clarify the Pope's words. He said Pope Francis picked up the white flag term because it had been used by the interviewer. He said Pope Francis used the term to mean calling for a truce and the courage to negotiate. In Rome, Colin Flynn, EWTN News Nightly.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken is in Jamaica today, meeting with Caribbean leaders about the crisis in Haiti. As the violence spirals out of control, one Catholic leader is sounding the alarm. Archbishop Max Leroy Messidor, who serves as the president of the Haitian Bishops' Conference, warns that the country is on the verge of a civil war. There are kidnappings everywhere. Whether you are rich or poor, intellectual or illiterate, anyone can be kidnapped. It is a dictatorship, a plague that must be fought. The Archbishop also confirmed that the church is a target for kidnappers. As gangs roam the streets, civilians have taken up arms in an effort to fight them. The United Nations estimates that thousands have been killed in the violence already. On Capitol Hill, some members of the Republican Party are outlining their pro-life message and believe that it is a winning strategy ahead of the November elections. Meanwhile, Democrats continue to sell abortion on demand as a kitchen table issue. Capitol Hill correspondent Eric Rosales joins us now with more. Eric.
Good evening, Tracy. Pro-life Senator Marco Rubio put out a memo outlining what he calls as a winning pro-life strategy. It's to protect life, help mothers, and strengthen families. He and others in the GOP tell me that they don't want a repeat of what happened during last election when Democrats energized voters with the abortion issue.
Unfortunately, a lot of the debate around abortion talks about children as a burden, as something terrible that's going to ruin your life. You're not going to be able to finish school. You're going to be thrown into poverty. And so we need to address that piece of it. I mean, children should never be viewed as some sort of a burden.
Senator Rubio's pro-life memo has several key points. First, create policies that make it easier and more affordable for mothers to choose life over abortion. Plus, hammer Democrats' extremism on abortion. And third, protect the unborn as a moral center and purpose of the movement. Senator Rubio did sign on with Senator Lindsey Graham's bill for a 15-week abortion ban as a starting point to protect life. As we reported, Senator Graham plans to reintroduce the bill in the coming months. Senator Rubio says it's the Democrats who have extreme abortion positions.
They're not in favor of 15 weeks, but if we moved it to 20, the Democrats wouldn't support it either. If you moved it to 25, they wouldn't support it. If they moved it to 30, they wouldn't support it. They're not in favor of any restrictions.
But Democrats counter, saying that they've heard from women after the Roe decision.
Joe Biden and the Democrats are going to keep lifting these stories up, standing with women and families, and fighting to not just be a firewall against Republican attacks, but ultimately to restore Roe.
Senator Rubio also took on another issue. He recently wrote President Biden urging the administration to do more to protect places of worship, including Catholic churches.
They can't find a single person or any of these people that were responsible for what is pretty concerted effort to attack Catholic churches in America. We have these anti-Christian violent extremists operating in this country, and it is not a focus or the attention of this administration or this Justice Department.
As you heard, Senator Rubio questions, how can the FBI track down the 2,000 people or so who entered the Capitol on January 6th and not find those who have made over 400 attacks on Catholic churches since May of 2020. He alleges that the administration has failed to address this problem adequately, and because of that, more attacks will take place on places of worship in the future. At the Capitol, Eric Rosales, EWTN News Nightly.
Our Republican Senator Katie Britt is facing backlash for her State of the Union GOP response because of a misleading anecdote involving sex trafficking. Carla Jacinto Romero, whom Senator Britt met on the border in 2023, claims that she was not trafficked by the Mexican cartels, as Senator Britt had stated, but rather by an individual trafficker. Romero said that past events in her life do not align with how Senator Britt expressed them in the GOP response to the State of the Union. Senator Britt appeared to link the story to President Biden's border policies, although the story was 20 years old and took place in Mexico, not the United States. Sad, we have a lot more still to come here on EWTN News Nightly, including pushing back. People in Ireland head to the polls to show their support for traditional family values. And we take a look at some concerns about organized crime heading into the start of Mexico's election season. In Ireland, 2 constitutional amendments targeting women and the family have been rejected. The country's prime minister said that he was disappointed by the defeat of, quote, more inclusive language.
It was our responsibility to convince the majority of people to vote yes, and we clearly failed to do so.
By wide margins, Ireland voted against legally redefining family as, quote, founded on marriage or other durable relationships, and also voted to retain language about the social value of women within the home. For insights on the results, we go to Ronan Mullen, an independent Irish senator who joins us now from Ireland. Senator Mullen, good to be with you today. Let's talk more about the results of the vote and the kind of message that it sends about where the people of Ireland are when it comes to marriage and family.
Well, thank you, Tracy. The Irish Constitution, Bunreacht na hÉireann, is the basic law of our country against which all legislation must be tested. And what the government wanted to do here was to remove a special provision in our Constitution that provides that mothers should not be forced by economic necessity to work outside of the home to the neglect of their duties in the home. And for years now, we've heard how sexist all this was. The government proposed an amendment to get rid of that clause and to put in a fairly watery clause giving recognition to care in the home generally. And the people rejected this proposal resoundingly by 72% or 73% to 26 point something. A massive rejection of the proposal. I would say for many, many people, there is still an importance to recognizing motherhood and the unique contribution that mothers make to our society in time for Mother's Day. And on the other proposal, diluting again the relative importance of marriage as the foundation for family life. There was massive confusion about what durable relationships might mean, how many people could be in a durable relationship, how long would a durable relationship have to last. So again, what you had here was a core vote of Irish people who believe in marriage and who believe in motherhood, allied perhaps with a wider group who said, you know what, you don't put vague and uncertain wording into your constitution that could lead to all sorts of crazy litigation and strange outcomes. And that coalition has happily given us a good common sense result.
Ronan, why was there a push to make these changes to the country's constitution? I mean, who was behind this?
Well, what you have is a very progressive government, a so-called progressive. Our main parties are very much given to a woke agenda, a Green Party, minority party pushing gender ideology at every turn. And that was why, instead of coming up with a wording that would have honoured both fathers and mothers, they proposed to get rid of the only reference to mothers in the Irish Constitution, the only reference to woman specifically, and the vital work that is done in homemaking for those women who choose it. So instead of honouring men and women, they wanted to give a kick to mothers. And that's because under gender ideology, they don't want to talk about the differential contribution of mothers and fathers in parenting, in the upbringing of children. They don't want to talk about the difference between men and women. And with their attempt to redefine family as being based on durable relationships, again, they don't want to talk about the male-female binary in marriage.
Ronan, we're almost out of time. Obviously, the results speak for themselves. But what are you hearing from people in your area? What have they said about this?
Well, I met so many people, women in particular, after they voted and said, I voted no, my mother matters, And there were other people who felt that this wording was being ungenerous because it wasn't giving enough of a guarantee to carers that their interests would be looked after. So the government has managed to offend a whole lot of people. But I think there's also a wider sense that this government is disconnected from the day-to-day problems that people face. There's an insiderism, there's an elitism where they cook up policies. They try to minimize the amount of discussion that can actually take place so that many ordinary people don't feel that they have the permission to speak, to give their point of view. There's an elitist cohort that seem to be only interested in one side of these debates. And they have got big pushback now in this referendum result, and we need to make sure that they listen.
Well, we're going to leave it right there. Ronan, thank you so much for joining us today from Ireland. We appreciate it. God bless.
God bless you.
Our Catholic bishops in Mexico are expressing their concern over the influence of drug cartels and organized crime in the months-long election process that started last week. In a statement before the start of early voting, the Mexican Bishops' Conference made a plea for law enforcement to, quote, guarantee protection and an environment of peace. In addition to electing a successor to President Andrés Manuel López Obrador, Mexico also is voting for state and federal representatives and senators and dozens of other elected officials. The final day of voting is June 2nd. We recently spoke with an analyst based in Mexico. For analysis, we now turn to Alicia Galvin-Lopez, fellow for U.S.-Mexico relations at the Texas Public Policy Foundation. She is based in Mexico City. Alicia, great to be with you today. Tell us more about the message from Mexico's bishops, and have they done anything like this for previous elections?
Hi, how are you? It's my pleasure to be here with you and talking about the Mexican elections, and especially about what you said, the bishop, a message that they gave us from the last weeks about the insecurity in our country. Well, let me tell you that 2024 is a year of transcendence for Mexico, as one of the largest elections in the country history we will take place on. Now, democracy, the rule of law, freedom, and the governability of the country are in risk in the run-up to this election to several factors, because López Obrador is continuously attacked against the National Electoral Institute and the Electoral Tribunal because of the role that the organized crime may play in favor of Morena and its imputed impact that is really clear. The actual president is in the side of the organized crime, the social polarization, and also because you also have elections right now in the United States.
Alicia, you also mentioned the concerns over the influence of the drug cartels and organized crime. How do some of the candidates, how do they stand on that issue?
Well, I want to start with this topic. The three presidential candidates right now represent all the left ideas. Claudia Sheinbaum of Morena, Xochitl Gálvez of Frente Amplio, and Jorge Álvarez of Movimiento Ciudadano. Maybe the only difference that they have is that Claudia Sheinbaum from Morena also represent the same ideas as Andrés Manuel López Obrador, the strategic of abrazos no balazos, no, and the impunity with the organized crime. On the other side, Xochitl Gálvez and Jorge Álvarez said that they are against the organized crime and that the country needs a new policy against the organized crime.
We're almost out of time, but quickly, Alicia, can you tell us, for our viewers that aren't in Mexico right now, what would you want them to know about these upcoming elections in your country?
Well, unfortunately, no one of the candidates represent, as I told you, the conservatism ideas. No, the three candidates are leftists with all the populist proposals. All three support abortion, the LGBT agenda, feminism, transgender children. They are all globalist and believe in the 23 agenda. Now, we know that we require a real alternative, committed candidates with a clear policy proposal to fight hard against organized crime, to put an end to corruption and the impunity, to reduce poverty in our country, to eliminate all public policies and laws that respond to the gender ideology, to urgently resolve the humanitarian and the security crisis that today afflicts the border, due to illegal migration. We need a government that complies with its international agreements, that joins efforts with countries that defend freedom and democracy against communists, and all this against socialist dictatorships and all these socialist ideas that right now are destroying our country.
Well, Alicia, thank you so much for your time and for weighing in. We really appreciate it. God bless you. Up next on EWTN News Nightly, art in Venice. Learn why Pope Francis will travel next month to see a new art exhibit. Plus, the Holy Father explains how the gaze of Jesus upon us is like a gentle glimmer. The Vatican is preparing for an art exhibition next month in Venice that will feature a visit from the Holy Father. EWTN Vatican Bureau Chief Andreas Tannhauser has more details.
It will be a historic moment, as he will be the first pope to visit the Venice Biennale, which clearly demonstrates the Church's desire to consolidate a fruitful and close dialogue with the world of arts and culture.
On Sunday, April the 28th, Pope Francis will travel to Venice to visit the 60th International Art Exhibition. There, the Holy See will have its own pavilion focused on the theme of human rights and the lowliest, a central topic of Pope Francis's pontificate. The exhibition, which is entitled With My Eyes, will take place from April the 20th to November the 24th in 2024.
In this pavilion, we pay attention to the vulnerability of the lowliest, the beauty of acceptance, the recognition of the human person, the value of forgiveness, and the possibility of saying that a person is not doomed forever. This exhibition is meant to be a journey, but also meant to bring hope. And seeing the works through the eyes of incarcerated women is something important.
And to showcase this exhibition, an unprecedented venue for the Viennese Biennale. The Holy See's pavilion will take place for the first time in the Giudecca Women's Prison, where art, human poetry and the act of caring will come together. 80 female prisoners have played a key role in organizing this event, and they will be the ones to accompany visitors.
The visitor who comes to the exhibition has to book a ticket as he would to visit a museum today. And when he arrives to the prison, he will be placed in a group of 20 to 25 people. After that, 2 policemen, together with 2 museum workers, who are the female inmates, will accompany the visitor inside the prison, through the different rooms and the exhibition route, for a duration of about 45 minutes.
More details about the Pope's visit to Venice to the Holy See's pavilion at the Biennale, as well as the meetings in the city's patriarchate, will be published in the coming weeks. In Rome, Andreas Townhouse and Matteo Ciaffi, EWTN News Nightly.
Finally tonight, Pope Francis says that Jesus knows our innermost secrets, but he is not looking to judge us.
Davanti a Gesù non ci sono segreti.
In his Sunday address at the Vatican, the Holy Father said instead of using our innermost thoughts against us, Jesus wants to free us from our sins and save us. And his gaze upon the faithful is not a blinding light. Instead, it is more of a gentle glimmer. We thank you for watching tonight. And remember, you can follow us on social media, Facebook, X, and Instagram at EWTN News Nightly. I'm Tracy Sabol. Good night and God bless.